Hello, good morning. It's a beautiful new morning right here, and thank you so much for starting it with us.
Yes, indeed. It's always a pleasure to be here. And we just love having you join us at this hour, this early hour. It's still 6 a.m. But we love it that you're here and you're joining us for this show.
It promises to be a great morning, and as always, my name is Titilayo Oyinson.
And I'm Yomi Okwe. We are live right now, tvcentertainment.tv and on Facebook.
At TVC Connect. Send in those comments as soon as you can. Whatever they might be, use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC.
Yeah, and our app is also available for download, both on the Android and iOS stores, and you can watch us anywhere you are in the world.
Yes. Mobile devices are today's, most hands-on way to watch TV these days. So you need to join us online. And why? Because we have quite a lot in store for you. Chude Jidonwo is going to have a word or two for us this morning to encourage us to be better daily vulnerables.
Everything. The cameras we're using to shoot this program, the chair I'm sitting on, the building I'm inside, my body, your eyes.
Chef Belinda is back. She's back with us on the show for another recipe. She's going to be trying out something new in her kitchen today, and we'll be learning it from her.
Now, Ifeanyi Omesiete is a certified nutritionist who creates innovative recipes that improve a child's diet. And this morning, we're going to be talking density over quality. I like that.
Yes, so how nutritiously dense is your food? And on Life Hacks, is going to be showing us how to recycle our old plastics and use them as storage for food items. That should be interesting. Then we'll be having a chat with actor and serial entrepreneur Bolaji Ogunmola.
On parenting, we're going to be joined by Clara Kolade, who has a considerable number of years as a certified etiquette trainer, and she will be talking about listening as an art of communication.
Olamilekan Adedeji is a recording artist and the official DJ of YBNL Nation. He's going to be joining us for a chat online much later. Yeah. So
it's excellent. It's going to be an interesting show. This is the final week of Ramadan. So the fasting is coming to an end, and lots of Muslims are looking forward to the end of the Ramadan and also to celebrate Salah. And there are a number of states that might be easing the lockdown so that it's not confirmed yet, so that some of the Muslim faithful can go pray, but still maintain social distance. So for instance, if there's a mosque that sits like maybe 100, maybe they'll allow only about like 25, so that there'll be social distancing and they'll be able to pray together.
Well, I guess we'll get the information on the news eventually. But it's always been a really great time for people of all religions, because there's a lot of families coming together, people being their brother's keeper, offering food around and all that. And it's always an interesting celebration for us to see, and we do celebrate with you. Yeah. And I wanted to note something on the parenting topic today. Right. Listening as an art for communication. I don't know whether the word art really fits in there. I don't know.
Well, we're going to ask the expert, but I guess...
is communication really... I guess it is a craft.
There are books, there are whole books that say the arts of communication.
Of course.
So, and once you say... once you use the word art when it comes to a particular skill or a particular profession or whatever it is, I think they're talking about the skill it requires to do it. So not necessarily
the form of expression. So when they say a visual artist is expressing himself, right? So I guess maybe that's where they might be using the word art. So there's
art as in act, like the activity. and how you develop that activity to make it something that is repeatable.
So our kids' art of communication is making noise, scattering the parlor, asking for things all over the place.
Exactly.
And refusing to do homework. You know, so communicating with young people, I have a feeling it actually is it's a skill that is a lot more rare than we think. I don't think a lot of parents are communicating with their kids. I think they're just commanding them around, telling them what to do. Be here, don't be here. Have you done that? And they're not actually connecting.
So, I mean, when we talk to the expert today, we're going to find out details about exactly, you know, when it comes to listening, which I think a lot of people don't do. So they say that some people listen to respond and don't listen to understand. So, I mean, when we do talk to the expert, we'll find out what they mean. Anyway, so I mean, people are back to work, obviously, and you know the lockdown is easing gradually. And getting better and better. So now it seems like a lot of people are finding it hard to adjust.
To get back on the train. Okay, so,
exactly.
So what people are finding the most hard to adjust to is the traffic. Why? Because they've just been chilled at home, and that, so I've been hearing about a lot of road rage. Even I think my husband was on the road yesterday, and he said he just couldn't feel, he wasn't at ease in traffic the way he used to be. So he said his body was feeling the strain of being in traffic. But this was something we were so used to. So it just goes to show that our bodies were going through some serious stress, some serious strain, and we just didn't realize it.
We didn't realize,
until we got that rest. And then we realized, like, wow, so this is really what we've been going through on a daily basis. So which is why they always say, you know, go check your blood pressure regularly, go for health checkups, because you actually don't know how much stress you're under until you're given that opportunity for a break, and then it's time
which
to
is
get
what
back
I mean,
into it.
and the break we've had, by the time it's if you give it another 10 days or so, it will be 2 whole months that we've been on that break, because it started at the end of March, the whole of April. The Lagos State was on lockdown, and then a good part of May as well on lockdown.
I think
you know,
kids will also react likely, because there's a lot of them go into traffic to get to school, maybe on the school bus or even with parents. They're going to feel so likely when they get back from school, they're going to be exhausted. You know, and I think we just have to really try and find ways to ease up that stress generally across board. Maybe get to bed on time instead of staying up late, so that we can actually adjust fully. But at this point, I think it's time for us to take the news update. Back in Nigeria, the total lockdown in Kano continues, while there will be an extension of the first phase of easing the lockdown in the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos and Ogun states. The Presidential Task Force on Covid-19 is also counting the gains achieved in the fight against the pandemic as they redouble efforts to enforce the new stage of the extension. Senior correspondent Femi Akonde reports.
2 weeks added to the first phase of the gradual and phased easing of the lockdown. But there was significant progress recorded in the first phase, despite obvious enforcement bottlenecks and other compliance issues. This decision is the outcome of recommendations made to the President by the task force saddled with the responsibility of coordinating the National Response Plan. Again, there will be intensified efforts to alleviate socio-economic difficulties caused by this extension.
The level of compliance has been reviewed, and a specific directive has been issued to the security agencies to carry out strict enforcement of all measures. These include the nationwide curfew between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m., the ban on interstate travels, and the wearing of face masks and coverings in public places. The security agents are, however, urged to be mindful of the human rights of citizens, while citizens are equally urged to encourage and recognize the dangers posed to self, their loved ones, and the entire community if they fail to take responsibility.
After recording the highest figure in one day, health authorities are closing the gaps in testing, tracing, isolating, and treatment of confirmed cases. Statistics from the Center of Disease Control indicates that Lagos, Kano, and Borno accounts for 52% of the COVID-related deaths in the country. The biggest worry for the Presidential Task Force will be transitioning from a lockdown to a safe reopening.
How do we restart our economies safely? How do we move from the narrative of a lockdown to a narrative of a safe reopening so that people can go back to their livelihoods while still staying safe as possible from this virus? How do we do that in the farms? How do we do that in the markets? How do we do that in the schools? How do we do that in transport? How do we do that in aviation? And really, this has to be our focus in the next few weeks.
At the daily media briefing, the Minister of Foreign Affairs announced a significant breakthrough achieved in providing welfare for evacuees. He disclosed that the Central Bank of Nigeria and Nigeria's oil company, NNPC, will now pick the welfare bills of returnees in mandatory isolation. This must indeed be a relief after the government was hit with a barrage of attacks, criticizing its insistence that evacuees must pay for their hotel accommodation and feeding.
We found ourselves in a situation where either we stopped evacuations for lack of funding, but we knew that there were so many people who were desperate to get back, or we passed on the costs to the evacuees. But what I did say was that I would spare no effort in trying to source for funding from whatever source we could find it.
In the coming days, the operational guidelines for the extended phase of the lockdown will be released, but government continues to escalate health advisories on precautionary measures to stay safe and flatten the curve of transmission. Femi Akonde, TVC News.
Contrary to the directive of the federal government, the Kano state government was going ahead with the relaxation of the lockdown. Residents are allowed to move around on Mondays and Thursdays. The state government also approved recommendations of Islamic scholars for congregational Eid prayers to be conducted on Fridays. Special advisor to the governor on media, Saliu Yakazai, says imams must ensure they abide by the safety and prevention protocols while carrying out their activities. He also disclosed that a committee has been inaugurated to oversee the distribution of hand sanitizers, sanitation equipment, and face masks to imams in the state. And that's all we have time for on the news update for this hour. We'll be taking a quick break and we'll return with sports.
We're going to be taking a look at the newspaper headlines right now, and TT right here with me. We're going to be doing that.
Yeah, we're just standing by for the papers to step on set right now.
Yes, indeed. We're going to just receive the papers now.
Thank
you so much. Lots of stories in the papers. Let me just hand some of them over to you.
I have the Punch with me already. And yes, this is how the headlines look. Starting with this one, it says here, Lagos, Kano, Borno account for 52% COVID-19 deaths, according to federal government. The government plans lockdown in states, local governments with increasing cases. Nigeria not ready for full reopening of economy, say the PTF. CBN, NNPC allocate 1 billion naira for isolation feeding returnees. It also says here that police parade couple Oyo clerics aides over twins abduction. Moving to the top of the page, federal government targets 5 million jobs from 995 million euro agric program. On PhD scandal, ONU overrules board, ICPC orders demoted FIRO boss reinstated. Federal government quarantines British aircraft pilots to apply full sanctions. What do we have here? Sad one. BRT driver who killed. Oh, okay. No. Okay. This one says BRT driver who killed businesswoman handed over to police. And I'll wrap with this one. Fashoranti's daughter, quarantined suspect discharged, heads for prison. That's what we have on the cover of the Punch.
All right, let's check out The Guardian. Why Africa is least affected by deaths from COVID-19. And this will be an interesting story for many people this morning. Let's take a look at it. It says, findings suggest world's malaria endemic regions fare better. And health experts stress effects of diet, climatic, social factors. We've been talking about this for a while. And Buhari extends easing of lockdown by 2 weeks. Federal government spends 1 trillion naira on firms to save economy. Suspends loan repayment by states. Doubling time of virus has slowed down. Oh, thank God for that. And a few other stories at the bottom here. Lagos, 2 others account for 52% of COVID-19 deaths nationwide. Ohaneze renews quest for 2023 presidency, reposes confidence in Gambari Ikone. And finally, Abia confirms 5 fresh COVID-19 cases. And look at that picture story on the cover of The Guardian this morning. Oh my goodness. Easing of the lockdown. Gridlock along Mile 2 Oshodi Expressway by Toyota bus stop in Lagos. And this was yesterday. Wow, look at that. That's it on The Guardian.
So we also have the Nation newspaper here, and it starts with this headline. It says, interstate travel ban, curfew to continue for 2 weeks. Nation not ripe for end of lockdown, says Buhari. Schools, worship centers, airports to remain shut. 1,180 ASU members fail BVN test. Teachers underpay tax. Udeogu, on that issue here, Supreme Court verdict shocking, says Sage. 6 sons seek Kalu's release. Akeredolu to reopen worship centers. Governor clerics to meet. And on the cover of the Nation, we have the COVID-19 global cases number here, and it stands at 4,865,135 people, or confirmed cases all around the world. And so far, 318,830 people have died. In Nigeria, it says here 6,175 cases have been recorded, and so far 191 people have died. CBN, NNPC to spend 1 billion naira on returnees quarantine. And finally, federal government confirms Iwo as location of college. That's what we have on the cover of the Nation.
The Vanguard is next. COVID-19, interstate lockdown, curfew on for 2 more weeks, says the federal government. And coronavirus beyond technology, power, resources, says Buhari. And CBN, NNPC to bear cost of feeding accommodation of returnees. And Lagos records 74 new cases as confirmed cases rise to over 6,000. Customs compounding woes of manufacturing sector. NECA raises alarm. And Zenith General Insurance's profit before tax rises 16% to 3.6 billion naira. And COVID-19, we may reopen worship centers soon if, find out the conditions given by Governor Sanwo-Olu there. And cut in oil production will deepen economic recession in Nigeria. A Fitch report says. And IPPIS, ASU wants to evade tax. Wow. This is the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. IPPIS has brought untold hardship to us, says SANU. And COVID-19, 80% of businesses adversely affected, says an LCCI survey. Flight ban violation, impounded planes crew quarantined in Lagos. And finally, on the cover of the Vanguard this morning, we're investigating firm where 38 staff contracted COVID-19, says Governor Makinde. That's it on the cover of the Vanguard.
And that's indeed all we have time for on the headlines and dailies for this hour. We'll be taking a quick break and then we'll be back with more on Wake Up Nigeria.
Teaching about non-attachment. Non-attachment basically says everything that is in this world is impermanent. Everything. The cameras we're using to shoot this program, the chair I'm sitting on, the building I'm inside, my body, your eyes, your wife, your husband. Everything is impermanent. There is nothing that we have that will last forever. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the Buddhists teach elegantly that when you come to terms with it and you realize that you cannot attach your self-worth or your sense of well-being to anything, because those things will go away. More important it is for you to decide that whatever life brings your way, you will enjoy it. And when it's time to say goodbye, you will allow it to go. Non-attachment is not saying that you'll be like, I cannot enjoy anything in my life because it will go. No. Non-attachment says, I will enjoy it, but I will realize that at any time it can go. So I will both enjoy it and be prepared to lose it at any time, at the same time. You know, one of my favorite teachings is by, quote is by Scott Fitzgerald, the author, I think, of The Great Gatsby. And he said, the test of a first-rate mind is the ability to hold two contradictory thoughts in your head at the same time. And that's what non-attachment is. It's saying, I love this experience, I want it to last forever, but I know it won't last forever, so I will enjoy it while I will prepare myself for the day that it will no longer be here. And when that day comes, I will let it go and I will continue to enjoy my life.
All right, Daily Vulnerable there with Chile. Very nice. So anyway, one of the top stories this morning, everybody's wondering why Africans are not dying from COVID-19. So
because we are very prayerful.
Yeah, it's the Lord's doing.
We are prayerful.
It's the Lord's doing and is marvelous in our eyes.
Amen.
We have overcome.
Is there sarcasm
Yes, we can.
somewhere?
No, so it's not even really sarcasm, because there were so many people, even was it Melinda Gates that said, you know, things about people dying in the streets and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, it was really alarming what people anticipated all over the world.
Yeah.
Like, they were thinking it would become the hot red zone, but somehow it's not.
It's not. So there have been a number of factors that were attributed to why the rates, even the infection rates and also the deaths are very low. And the major thing is Nigeria's climate. So our climate is, no, I said Nigeria, Africa's climate. And then also, it's hot, it's quite hot during this period, and also a lot of humidity.
Of course.
And these are two things that doesn't allow the virus to thrive. So anything 10 degrees and below, the virus will really thrive and spread very fast. But once it's above 10 degrees, and I mean, Nigeria is like 30-something degrees.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't really survive. And the two things that they've mentioned, so in a normal temperature, the virus can last 6 to 8 hours. In the sun, it lasts for 6 minutes.
Wow.
If it touches hot metal, it's less than 1 minute.
Wow.
So you can imagine, so if
If it
go out...
touches normal metal, it can take up to 72 hours, like indoors, but yeah, under the sun.
So once you step outside, even if you had the thing on your skin, so go out in the sun a lot. Anyway,
No, wait. But you know, there is that whole mindset though, that Africans might have something that makes them asymptomatic.
So let me just read.
Yeah,
There's one thing here. They said findings suggest world's malaria endemic regions fare better.
Yeah.
And then they also said health experts stress effects of diet, climatic and social factors. So it's just a perfect combination for Africans.
I
So
beg to differ.
climate with
You see that part you
malaria.
said diet. Let's take it out first. Maybe they are referring to certain things. So we
certain
can focus
items
on
that things that we've been eating,
like,
consuming.
Yeah.
Like
you know
you don't
the
eat you don't eat ginger much when you're in other countries.
Yeah.
No,
And bitter
no,
leaf and
actually
all those
bitter
things.
leaf.
But things
Not
like
really.
bitter leaf, and then
Bitter
remember
leaf.
when the old ewedu has the component. Please don't make ewedu more expensive, because we know you people. Don't make it more expensive. Anyway, there was a time they said, okay, that was one of the components for the Madagascar medicine, and so because of that, people are like, oh my gosh. So the regular things I eat have actually been fixing me up.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm of the opinion that many Africans are probably asymptomatic.
Yeah, yeah.
There are indications, and there have been certain scientific talk about the virus maybe coming back in like a few years' time.
Yeah, all those kind of
and
things.
all those
Yeah,
talk. And so it makes you like, for the next few years, that's why people are saying, things will soon return to normal. I'm like, for the next few years,
So
social distancing. You don't know if this thing will ever come
So, you
back.
know, they say, there's that word they say, you know, that, you know, the herd, the fact that we're nomadic
Yeah.
in Africa. We move around a lot. So that was something that people were worried about. People move from state to state with no holds barred. You know, they carry animals here, there, everywhere. They even stay in trucks with animals. We see it every day. Then also the fact that I remember how many times I took chloroquine as a child. I have a feeling it's in my bloodstream.
You know, so it's
Like
really,
it's part of my
yeah, because
DNA by now or
based on the
something.
predictions from, so they had done some prediction modeling from February.
Yes.
When you know we were really seeing cases in
Yeah.
China, and then you know it started picking up in the US. So they had done this huge prediction
May was
modeling,
supposed to be the peak in Africa.
and so they were predicting millions of deaths.
Yeah,
In Africa, millions.
Yeah.
You know that, man, if 100,000 people die in the US that has good health, a good
Yes,
health
system.
system, we don't have a great health system here. I mean, how many general hospitals and
How many
teaching,
doctors per number of people?
teaching
Yeah.
hospitals do we have? Our health workers, our nurses, like we just don't have that capacity. We do not have the capacity to
We
handle
have
that everything. Yeah.
very good doctors. We have very good nurses. We have very good pharmacists. We have excellent health workers.
Yeah.
What is the problem here is usually maintenance. Infrastructure gets set up, but is it being maintained? That is one problem. Number two, when we talk about healthcare, Nigeria could be one of the best in the world. I'll tell you why. I've mentioned this before. We are fashioned after the UK system.
Mostly.
Which, yes, mostly, which allows you to pay the barest minimum for healthcare. I keep telling people, if you're in the US, you want to get ambulance. You're a rich person. Here, you sit down by the roadside and call 767 or 112.
Yeah,
and they will come and they will even be insulting them for not coming. In the US, $2,500.
For an ambulance to pick you up, yeah.
Is in your
So
insurance.
which is actually why
It's expensive
if they
in the
lose
US.
someone in the US in an ambulance, they
Yeah.
feel really, it really hits them hard because they're like, wow, this person paid this much
to get to the hospital. It must be a really serious illness.
Exactly.
But in the UK, it's free.
So,
When some of these UK citizens, some British citizens were told how much it costs healthcare in the US, they were like, what? Do they want people to die there?
Exactly.
But I actually love the fact that you brought that up because the health workers here are actually very skilled. And they work in very tough conditions. Tough conditions where where there's almost no law and order in the average emergency room.
Yeah.
You know, in the average waiting room rather. You have queues and queues of people that don't know how to even describe how they're feeling, and people that speak different random languages, and they still end up treating them.
Yeah.
So in other countries where they all probably even speak the same language, you know, they're able to communicate how they're feeling.
Yeah.
They're having this kind of stress. So imagine having a nurse having to learn Hausa, learn a bit of Igbo, learn just to treat people on one queue.
And then engage each one of them at their own level, you know, because you want to relate with the ones who are middle class, speaking nice English, and also relate with the ones, you know, that in pidgin English.
I read stuff online about people traveling abroad for plastic surgery. I used to go, oh wow, and all that, until I found out that it's not only done here in Nigeria, it's actually excellent. Like,
people do it.
They are really good. But because of the fear of, let generator not go off, while I'm doing the surgery, so many people just run out of the country.
Plastics. Anyway, we'll talk about. I just wanted to situate this for those watching us so that it wouldn't be like we're just being sensational. So now the latest figures from the World Health Organization across Africa. Now Africa has a population of over 1 billion people.
Yes.
So I'm trying to situate it for you and give you an idea of what we're talking about. Now the number of cases in the whole of Africa is 58,663, and deaths are 1,700. That's across Africa. Across Africa, that's 1 billion people.
Wow.
Right? Now compare that to the US, or the Americas, you know, the US, Canada, and the rest of them. 1.9 million cases, and then 118,000 deaths.
That's crazy.
So it even bogs the mind when you think about those kinds of numbers. The whole of Africa with less than 2,000 deaths.
However, let's keep two things in mind. Just as Trump was bragging, one, the US was able to test more people. Let's be realistic about that.
So they could actually
they could actually determine just how many people. We are still in the process. It's a gradual process. So we cannot really say, that's why we're talking about the asymptomatic fact and why people should keep that distance. So they don't think they'll see their brothers this evening. They don't say, you know, they affect Africa. So
exactly.
So this thing is still a gradual testing process.
It's a testing process. And so it's still,
everybody still
those precautions.
It's very important.
Those precautions are still very necessary, especially because of the vulnerable people among us.
The elderly.
The elderly. And people with other conditions, opportunistic infections, tuberculosis, asthma, and all of that. It's very, very important that you protect those people, even if you feel healthy.
Yes,
so
it's really, really important. So please, let's take care.
Yeah.
Stay safe. Stay home if you can work from home. Okay.
We're going to be taking a quick break now, and of course, after this, we have birthday shout-outs.
A very warm welcome to you, the second hour of the show.
Second lap. This is your favorite TV show.
It feels like we should be passing on the baton to somebody else. Like
final lap. Okay, good morning. This is the Center of Excellence, Lagos, Nigeria. As you know, we're here to bring you non-stop infotainment and much more.
Yeah, now the days ahead seem to hold a glimpse of hope with the lockdowns, but as you can see, we're still keeping our distance from one another.
Just stay there.
Up in here. And things are getting a bit relaxed and businesses are gradually opening up. But hey, it's not yet Uhuru, if you remember that book. So remember to stay safe.
Yeah, keep the tradition. It is fast becoming a tradition. Wash your hands. Don't forget the back of your hands, by the way, and your thumbs, and the inside of your palms when you're washing your hands as well. Keep a very healthy lifestyle, and of course, keep that distance.
And make sure you continue to stay safe anywhere you are. I've got Mary in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Keeping her distance from us, as usual.
See, I was about to say just that. I mean, sometimes you read my mind. The distance is clear. Like, I'm very happy. You guys enjoy your company while I stay as far away as possible. That's fine. Sometimes there are benefits in staying in the kitchen besides food.
Anyway, I'm Yomi Okwe.
And I'm Titilayo Onyison. Just in case you didn't know, we're streaming this show live right now on tvcentertainment.tv and, of course, on Facebook at TVC Connect.
Yes, indeed. We also have an amazing app available for you to download, both on the Android and iOS stores. Now, this app lets you watch us anywhere you are in the world.
It's a really interesting app, actually. Just click and you're watching. all the shows on TVC Entertainment. Now we have quite a lineup still in store for you. Chef Belinda is back with us again. She's going to be giving us another tasty recipe to try out in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Ifeanyiwa Omesiete is a certified nutritionist. Now she creates innovative recipes that help improve a child's diet. Now this morning, she'll be discussing density over quality.
I like it. On Life Hacks, is going to be showing us how to recycle our plastics and use them as storage for food items. Interesting.
Fabulous,
Then we'll be having a chat with actor and serial entrepreneur Bolaji Ogunmola right here in the studio.
That is not it. Trust me, I'm over it.
Doesn't like you. I mean, don't you just...
You know that?
On parenting. Oh yeah, we still have parenting.
Yeah,
we have,
parenting is coming up as well pretty soon.
Yeah.
Clara Kolade is going to be
talking to us. Yeah.
talking to us. Now, she has a considerable number of years of experience as a certified etiquette trainer. And specifically, she's going to be talking to us about the art of listening.
Listening.
The art of, listening as an art in communication.
When it comes to kids,
Yeah.
do you listen to them? that's the question. Olamilekon Adedeji is a recording artist and the official DJ of YBNL Nation. He's going to be joining us for a chat much later on as well. So, it's interesting the way music videos, so people are producing music videos even during the lockdown.
Yes.
By compiling videos
And
from
shorts,
the internet.
yeah, from the internet. And I think it's, it's a remarkable time
Yes, it is.
of opportunities. So it's also a very tough time for certain people in certain categories of businesses and individuals who don't have work, but also opportunities for people as well to learn a new skill and also to just come up with new ideas for how to do things. So in the area of production, people are just doing stuff that's crazy. People are having conferences, like whole conferences online right now. Yeah.
It's really interesting. Then I wanted to note that, the creative industry wasn't really one that was in focus when it came to palliatives and things like that.
Yeah.
And I saw something, a video with Alibaba in it, and he was talking about, at least the state government trying to do something for the entertainers who, obviously, because there are no events happening right now, are struggling. And I thought that was really important, that at least that industry brings in a lot of money.
Yeah, it does.
When it's alive, so it shouldn't really be ignored. Music, however, has to do with a lot of different things. So first of all, studios are very small spaces. And you probably have like 2-3 people in a really cramped space. That's one. There's hardly ever ventilation. There's not even windows in a studio, music studio. Yeah. And then if you're playing instruments and things like that, it even gets worse. So imagine all the guitarists and pianists that are just,
no work.
No work.
Nowadays, the good thing about this pandemic is it has shown endless possibilities. There was a music video by Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, Stuck With You, and it was all shot from different locations, like different celebrities showing themselves with their partners while in isolation. And I remember even before the lockdown, there was a music video that simply had to do with a selfie stick, like going around, I believe it was Miley Cyrus or so. So the music industry was already beginning to look beyond, let's get expensive cameras, let's shoot big things. And there are so many people being affected, unfortunately, by this pandemic. We can only hope they get reprieve somehow, really.
Somehow, one way or the other. And we do have to take the news now. And Nigeria recorded 216 new COVID-19 cases overnight, taking the total to 6,175. And so far, 1,644 people have recovered and have been discharged, while 191 people have succumbed to COVID-19 related complications. Lagos recorded 74 new cases, followed by Katsina with 33, 19 in Oyo, 17 in Kano. Edo State recorded 13 new cases. Zamfara 10, Ogun, Gombe and Borno each had 8 new cases, while Bauchi and Kwara recorded 7 new cases. 4 new cases were recorded in the AFCT, 3 in Enugu and Kaduna, while Rivers State had 2 new cases. Now, the lockdown in Nigeria and Kano continues, where there will be an extension of the first phase of easing the lockdown in the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos and Ogun states. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 is also counting the gains achieved in the fight against the pandemic as they redouble efforts to enforce the new stage of the extension. Another 2 weeks have been added to the first phase of the gradual and phased easing of the lockdown. But there was significant progress recorded in the first phase despite obvious enforcement bottlenecks and other compliance issues. This decision is the outcome of recommendations made to President Muhammadu Buhari by the task force saddled with the responsibility of coordinating the national response plan. Again, there will be intensified efforts to alleviate socio-economic difficulties caused by this extension after recording the highest figure in one day. Health authorities are closing the gaps in testing, tracing, isolating, and treatment of confirmed cases. Statistics from the Center of Disease Control indicates that Lagos, Kano, and Borno accounts for 52% of the COVID-related deaths in the country. The biggest worry for the Presidential Task Force will be transitioning from a lockdown to a safe reopening. At the daily media briefing, the Minister of Foreign Affairs announced a significant breakthrough achieved in providing welfare for evacuees. He disclosed that the central bank and Nigeria's oil companies will now pick the welfare bills of returnees in mandatory isolation. This must indeed be a relief after the government was hit with a barrage of attacks criticizing its insistence that evacuees must pay for their hotel accommodation and feeding. In the coming days, the operational guidelines for this extended phase of the lockdown will be released. But government continues to escalate health advisories on precautionary measures to stay safe and flatten the curve of transmission. Over in the U.S., President Donald Trump has threatened to permanently pull U.S. funding from the World Health Organization if it does not commit to major substantive improvements in the next 30 days. The strongly worded letter alleges the WHO consistently ignored credible reports of the coronavirus spreading in Wuhan in early December 2019 or even earlier, and repeatedly made claims about the coronavirus that were either grossly inaccurate or misleading. Trump said it is clear the repeated missteps by the WHO in responding to the pandemic have been extremely costly for the world, and the only way forward was the WHO if it can actually demonstrate independence from China. Well, that's it on the news update for this hour.
Yeah, how you doing, people? My name is Dr. DK, and we have to help you to keep fit while staying at home. That's why we are doing this workout from our house. I'm working out from the gym right now, so we are doing this because of you. So today we are going to be working mostly on our arms, our back, and on our legs, just for a few minutes. Okay? So this is how we start. First, you have to stay together. Put your legs together. Now stay down like that. Stay down. Leave your hand like that. Leave your hand like that. Keep it out like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then take it back. Try to relax on the leg. Take it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you go again. Just 2 steps. Then you go. Bring down your wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you take it back again. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember I told you that we're going to be working on our legs, our waist, and our arms. So this time I'll raise the leg up. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you take it back, relax on the leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you go, take it back. We have 2 sets more to go. So you go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you move back, relax the leg. We have 1 set more to go. Then you go 1, 2. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you relax back. Now when you do such thing, try and stretch. Stretch your arms. After stretching your arms, then you go. Raise the 2 legs up. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you relax the leg back. Try to stretch the knees again. Stretch yourself. Then you go back again. Go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You relax back again. Relax back again. You stretch your arms. Stretch your waist. Stretch it. Then you go again. Then you go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then back down. Stretch it. 1, 2, 3. We have 1 more set on the press up. Then this time you go again. Go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You take it up. You take it up. Try to stretch your arm. Stretch your arm. Then lift your leg where it is. Then you can go stretch it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other leg, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other one, you go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other leg, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then the other one, the last 10, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then the other leg, you go again 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you take it up, stretch yourself. Then this time around you go. I told you we're working on our legs, our arms, and our back. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you lean back to catch your breath. Relax the hand again. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have 1 more set to go. Just relax yourself. Then you go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now remember, I said we're going to be working on our waist. So many of us we sat down at home and we're feeling a lot of back pains. So you stretch it. 1, take it back. 2, take it back. 3, take it back. 4, and 5. So you wait. We have 1 more set to go on that one. So you go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, remember what I said. You can as well count 50, 60, it depends on you. The whole idea is you must always exercise, even while being at home. My name is Dr. DK. You can follow me on my Instagram page at lookgood.com. That's lookgood, DOTCOM_. From there you watch my live videos. Don't forget, this is TVC.
Welcome back. Ifeanyiwa Omesiete is a certified nutritionist. Now, she creates and introduces innovative recipes to improve on a child's diet. Now, she also consults at various hospitals for children of all ages, where she treats medical and dietary ailments. She's here with us via Skype to discuss density over quality. Good morning, Ife.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's great to see you and great to hear from you once again. And
Yes.
So when we heard the topic, we were really hoping to be enlightened on what you meant by density over quality. I think we should break it down one by one.
Okay, so essentially what density over quantity is, so we're talking about nutrient density over the quantity that we feed. We have this notion in Nigeria where essentially we feel like the more you feed a child, the healthier they would be. So try to get them to eat more quantities of whatever meal you're serving, where it's actually the opposite. You kind of want them to not eat so much, but you want them to eat very nutritionally dense meals. So heavy in nutrients, but not just in the calories. Because calories essentially are just one aspect of it. You want to make sure there's vitamins, there's minerals, fats are in adequate amounts, proteins, carbs, everything is kind of in there, so that even if the child is someone who doesn't want to eat large portions or doesn't want to eat large quantities at a time, they can do that. But you would still get the benefits of whatever dish you're trying to give them, because each meal is always nutrient dense.
Okay, so to be nutrient dense, could we break down which nutrients we should look out for specifically when it comes to kids? What are the key nutrients that are most important for children's meals?
Sorry, you said what are the key
nutrients that are
okay.
Yes, important for children's meals.
Okay, so it varies dependent on child. And one of the things I always encourage on my Instagram page, The Kid Nutritionist, is I always tell parents to think about the age of the child first and try and see what is ideal for that age. So I can give a breakdown. So for example, between the ages of 6 months to 1 year, ideally what you want is you want an increase in iron, you want an increase in calcium, and you want to ensure that they are getting their healthy fats, right? That's like essentially the focus. From 1 year to about maybe 3 years or so, iron is still important, but then you want to consider things like DHA. You want to ensure that you're getting the vitamins in, so vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin K. You kind of want to make sure there's an equal balance with all the nutrients that the child is getting in terms of their vitamins and their minerals. So iron is essential, calcium is essential. You don't want too much of sodium. You want an even amount of that in the body system, especially between the ages of 1 and 3, because they're going to want to go to the bathroom a lot. And sodium has a way of making you pee more than you should, and that's kind of the period of potty training. So
yes,
you want to be able to strike a balance then.
Very important, the potty training aspect. Okay, so now you mentioned the names of these nutrients, but now I think we need to break it down to the most available foods that have these nutrients. Now, off the top of my head, for maybe a 3 or 4-year-old, I can think of maybe a breakfast or, the breakfast, maybe a snack between breakfast and lunch, and then like a tea time meal between lunch and supper. But what could I look out for to buy specifically to make sure I have all those nutrients included?
Okay, so typically, in fact, I wanted to do this because I feel like sometimes we get carried away with eating the same things every day. So typically for a 3-year-old, right, you want something that is quick, easy, and you don't have to struggle with them so much about it for breakfast. So the first thing that comes to mind is pancakes. Who doesn't love pancakes? They are yummy. You can put whatever toppings you want on them. Now, a lot of people think pancakes are unhealthy, but you can have very, very healthy pancakes. For example, instead of using regular white flour, you could use oats, you could use guinea corn flour, you could even use millet, right? Then another one is adding 2 the oats. You could add bananas, you could add eggs, you could add nuts if you like. You could add apples if you want to. If you want to sweeten, you can sweeten with a bit of honey. You can sweeten with a bit of dates. And one of my all-time favorite things to add into pancakes is chocolate. Yes,
Oh,
you can
wow.
add chocolate to your pancakes. So make them really, really nutritionally dense. And you can pair that with either like a chocolate drink for breakfast or a chocolate beverage or even a smoothie. And in that smoothie, you could have apples, you could have bananas, you could have pawpaw, you could have pineapples. You can even sneak some vegetables in there. You could have carrots, you could have beetroot to give it some color. You can play around with so many options. Now that's just breakfast. You can imagine how nutritionally dense that would be. And that child doesn't even have to take a full cup of the smoothie, and they don't even have to eat more than like 1.5 pancakes, really,
Wow.
because everything is sort of in there. Then for lunch, who doesn't eat rice? I feel like rice.
You know what?
is
I think we
something
should
everybody does.
I think we should specifically put those recipes on our social media. We're going to be posting this clip eventually today, and please just help us list some of those meals. I wish we
Okay.
could actually take each and every one right now, but we don't have enough time. But it's always
I
great
know.
talking to you, and yes, we hope you'll be back next week to talk some more. Okay.
definitely,
All right.
definitely.
All right then. Thank you so much. We have to head over because we're talking about food, and this is the best time for Chef Belinda to come in and teach us
Hello,
something.
I'm Chef Belinda. Today we're going to make a lovely recipe, a cake, yes, a pineapple upside down cake. Pineapple upside down cake is the kind of cake you want to have in your home when you don't want icing. You want to have a yummy cake without icing. Pineapple upside down cake is the way to go. Our recipe today, we have flour, pineapple juice, sugar, cherries, baking soda, salt, margarine, melted butter, brown sugar, and pineapple rings. We'll start first by mixing our brown sugar with our melted butter. We'll mix them together thoroughly. So you mix thoroughly until it has blended into it. Then you take your pan and pour it over and let it spread along. Let it spread around the whole pan. Pineapple rings and place them on top. Yeah. So after arranging the pineapple rings, you take your cherries and place them into the rings. You know, most cherries they come in red colors, but these I deliberately got the one that had different colors. I want them different in different colors. So after arranging it, you set aside. Then you get a bowl and mix your butter, your margarine and sugar. Then you get your mixer. If you don't have hand mixer, you can use the whisk. You can continue with the whisk. You mix this 5 to 7 minutes until it gets fluffy. After mixing for a while and you notice that it is fluffy, you add your eggs and mix again for like 2 minutes. So we have our margarine, sugar and eggs mixed together here. Now we add our flour. Fold in. Add our baking soda. Then our salt, just a little salt. Yes, and fold in. Next we add our pineapple juice into it and mix thoroughly again. So So we mix thoroughly until we have a batter free of lumps. We have a smooth batter. Yes, I think we've achieved that now. So we turn into this that's been waiting for us. You see, this one here, actually the brown sugar and the melted butter pineapple rings, is what we eventually form that caramelized look on the top when it's baked. So after turning into the pan, we spread it round until we have an even. This is fine. Shake, shake, shake. This is good. So we'll take this into the oven now. The oven has been preheated already. We'll take this into the oven and it will stay for like 30 to 40 minutes and we have our cake set. So our cake is baked. I took it out of the oven like 10 minutes ago and I left it to cool down a bit. So now it's time to flip over so you can see the goodness of the pineapple and the cherries and oops. Yo, wow, this is nice. This is a pineapple upside down cake. This is actually yummy. You can, in fact, one person can finish this with that if you are not careful. So a lovely recipe. Try this at home and you will love it. I bet you will finish everything before you know what. Or mindful anyway. God bless.
How are you doing today? Hope you're well and keeping safe. So I have an interesting life hack for you guys. You're not going to see this one coming, trust me. Are you running out of containers to store your food items, maybe cereals, fruits, or even your leftover foods? Here is one trick that you should learn. Using plastic bottles and plates, you could actually store any kind of food items that you need in your fridge or anywhere in your kitchen. What are the items you need to achieve this? You need your plastic bottle. You could use a big one or a small one. It depends on the size of what you're storing. A pair of scissors, a lighter, a pen knife, sellotape, plates, and of course the items that I'm storing. So as you can see here, I already have cereals stored here. I'm just going to put this so you can see it. So I have my Cocoa Pops stored here, and below I have my Quick Oats stored here. So I'm just going to teach you how to achieve this. First of all, I am going to heat up my knife. So the idea or the reason for heating this up is to cut out the part of the bottle that I'd like to use. So to make it easier, I'll heat up the knife, the end of the knife I'll be using. So heat this up pretty nicely. I'm sure it's hot enough. And I'm just going to create the incision right here. So I'm creating an incision here, so I'm just going to go all the way. So when cutting your plastic bottle, you need to be very careful. You may not get it, you may get like a straight cut, but that's where the scissors comes in. So I'm just going to trim this nicely. Make sure it's well trimmed. And also to avoid any roughage. So now that my plastics have been cut, I'm going to use my sellotape to wrap the edges. So I'm going to wrap this up nicely. And I'm going to tuck it in to the plastic. You can see here. So I'm also going to do it to the other ends. Okay, so tuck it in. And then I'm going to do the same here. Because we are working with Now that both sides of my plastic bottles have been taped, it is time to store. So I have my plates. I'm gonna take these items out. Put my plastic bottle on the plate. I'm working with mangoes. I'm gonna put my mangoes in. Nice and safe and well kept. Then use another plate to cover it. And then take out the other part of the plastic bottle that I cut out, put in my apples and cover. And you can put this in your fridge. It depends on how big your fridge is. You could put it anywhere in your kitchen or anywhere at all. You could even use it to serve guests if you're, working with variety of meals. You could allow your imaginations run wild. You never know. Good to go. All right, and that's it for today on another way to store your food items in your house. This trick works every single time. You don't need to be scared or worried about anything. It's like storing your food items in a container. If you have tried this out and it works for you, please let me know by sending your comments to our social media platforms at TVC Connect. I'll wait to hear from you. Till next time, it's Wake Up Nigeria.
Wow, that's fantastic. It's great to always learn new stuff, maximize things around you that you have at home. Well, the show continues, of course, and it's time for us to have a conversation with the very fantastic Bolaji Ogunmola. She's going to be having a conversation with us via phone-in. Just so you know, she's an actor, producer, and serial entrepreneur. And now she's about to share a lockdown experience, new projects, and so much more with us today. Hi, Bolaji. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
All right, so Bolaji, lockdown experience so far. What has it been like for you? What effect has it had on you?
Well, I've had it with.
I can imagine.
It's been a lot of sleeping, eating, but obviously we have to also, learn some new things.
Yeah.
Spend more time with family. Yeah. Also we strategize and understand that, this is a new whole experience. This new experience for us, we have to understand that it can never be the same again. We go into this new world, be grateful and humbled by this whole experience. So yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a bit scary.
I can imagine.
Thankfully, we are all safe and we are all healthy. So.
All right. So Bolaji, I know quite well that coming into the movie industry wasn't an accident for you. You studied at the Royal Arts Academy, which really is a big deal. Comparing the knowledge you gained from your education and what you're currently experiencing day by day in the Nigerian movie industry, what's your take on that? What's it like? What's the difference?
The truth is, yes, school is good. I mean, you will learn the basics, but at the end of the day, when you get to the field, you will learn so much more. But you need to, first of all, have a foundation, which is what school will give you. But you can never compare it to what experience will give you. So, I mean, it's been amazing going to school to understand, different things and, just learn them on paper and do some practical. But when you get to the field, it is a whole new level. Whole new level, dealing with people, set people, your co-actors, even dealing with, the environment on set. It's different from when you're in school. They don't really tell you that next time to take the light and you're in the middle of a crime scene.
That's true.
I mean, it's a whole different ballgame entirely. But going to school has been, it really helped me.
It's really helped. Okay, so from Okon Goes to School till now, you've been doing really well for yourself. But I'm pretty sure there were also projects before Okon Goes to School, just like you see Okon Goes to School as your first professional work. So what else were you doing before you finally got that big opportunity via Okon Goes to School?
When I was in school, University of Illinois, I used to go for this acting. There's this acting group I belonged to, and we did our first film. I never saw that film. I don't even know if the person, the producer and director brought it out. So I was always eager to learn from the beginning. I mean, immediately I knew that I wanted to be an actor. Any avenue for me to learn and for me to, be around that thing I wanted to do, I took it. I would leave school and go all the way to. It's just that I stopped classes just so that I could go, to my group and just be around what I wanted to do before finally coming back to Lagos, going to Royal Art Academy, going for different auditions, then going to school happened.
Okay, so I observed that you have a new project. I don't know if you have others you're working on right now, but this one has to do with the coronavirus, especially a guy who just... Could you tell us more about that particular project?
Okay, it was an awareness, an awareness short film for coronavirus, and I think for us as creatives, we might not be able to give a lot of money, but if you can use our voice to, create awareness and for people to be more aware of this thing going on. It's not a joke. People are dying. And the major thing that we realize is that ignorance, people don't know. What you don't know is even much more dangerous. So we decided, okay, you know what, let's just do something so that, people can watch it. It's not just 5 minutes, and people can also understand that it is not a joke.
All right, so Bolaji, are you working on any other projects at the moment, or you're still taking it one day at a time?
We have to take it one day at a time.
Okay.
It's not something that you just rush into another project. Set is we have a lot of people at the back of the camera. We're touching people, so we really have to take it one day at a time to even see how this thing can, hopefully ease up, or we find a cure. Or, we're just hoping and praying for something positive to come out so that we know what to do next.
Okay, so Bolaji, back in 2016, there's been time between then and now. That's 4 years we're talking about. Now, back in 2016, you talked about how much you love your body.
Oh, wow.
And then you also talked about your ideal man. A man should chase money, not a woman, a poor man, that is. Money is essential. And then, of course, you like the light-skinned guys. So have you gotten what you wanted?
Okay. So I'm happy that we're having this conversation. First of all, I feel that when you do newspaper interviews, people just, they just read the headline and people just want to repeat and just say, oh, this is what she is. Relationship is about responsibility. You cannot find someone if you've not found yourself. It goes both ways. We are in 2020. That means you have to be your own person for you to invite another person into a relationship. It's a partnership. You are committed in building a home. You are going to bring new people. You are going to bring children into that home. So you have to be responsible for yourself.
And money is a major part of responsibility. I won't dispute that.
And it goes both ways.
All right. Thank you so much, Bolaji, for your time. I hope you continue to stay safe. And yes, it's a good thing. I can tell you're staying home, so that's very important for now. Thank you so much. Have a great week. All right, so that's the end of the second hour on Wake Up Nigeria. We still have 45 minutes left to go. Stay with us.
Now, welcome back. The show is still Wake Up Nigeria.
Yeah, just about 45 minutes left to spend with you. But we're going to do everything possible to make it count.
Yes, indeed. Now, how's your morning going so far? If you just tuned in, welcome. But do try to stick around with us.
Yeah, I was about to say I was going to give you a warm hug, but it's social distancing time.
Yeah,
so is that why you're staying?
I'm just trying to,
Don't leave the shot. Come back in. The camera cannot catch you there. Don't go too far. It's okay. My name is Titilayo Oyiso.
Yeah, and I'm Yomi Okwe. Mary's in the kitchen. Also keeping a distance away from us.
I think I've inspired something in Yomi. At this rate, Yomi is going to step off set. I don't understand what's with the social distancing. This one is so extra.
Make sure you stream the show live if you have to move about. tvcentertainment.tv.
Yes, indeed. Of course, you can download our app on the app stores, iOS and Android.
Of course.
And the app lets you watch us anywhere you are in the world.
Don't forget to use that hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC if you have any comments, contributions. We love talking social media here on the show as well.
We still have some parenting talk for you this morning on the show. In a few minutes' time, we're going to be joined by Clara Kolade, who has some considerable experience as a certified etiquette trainer. And she's going to be talking to us about listening as a tool in communication.
Olamilekan is a recording artist and the official DJ of YBNL Nation. He'll be joining us for a chat much later on. Don't want the music to stop. Almost don't want it to stop.
You see that
Yeah.
stuff Olamide has?
Yeah.
And it's got me thinking of ladies, because, you know, that's a lady thing. I saw a photo of the Queen yesterday, looking at her horses, during the horse race. And I'm like, do we have animal race here? Do we really have horse races besides, those who have access to polo clubs and all, but like real animal races where you know quite well that you put your money on a particular horse and you can make a lot.
I think there are probably, some places you can do that and all, but they're specially organized events with heavy sponsorship. And so they're not things that happen all the time. It's not, they're not yearly tournaments.
So in the north, in Sokoto, in the Sokoto Caliphate, and also in some parts of Zaria in Kaduna and Kano. So now these are big emirates. So you have the emirates, the emirates of Sokoto, then the emirates of Zaria, and then the emirates of Kano. These guys have something called a yearly Durbar.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where you then have this horse race.
Wow.
Yeah, so you have a horse race. Now these are, because they're royal, these are horses that are well tended.
Because horses are expensive to
not these
maintain,
random horses that you see in Lagos.
down.
You're driving on the Lekki Express. Is that a dog?
What do you mean by that?
Because they look so unkempt and not well tended.
They're obviously not.
Even on the beach, the horses are not well fed. They look overworked.
And then infections.
And actually doesn't take that much. It's just feeding them properly and grooming them and caring for them. And you just discover that the horses will just bloom and come out.
Horse flesh isn't about eating the flesh of the horse. Horse flesh, no, seriously, horse flesh has to do with the quality of the horse. That's what they look at. And for you to see a well-groomed horse, you know that dogs don't have anything on it. You think you are spending money on your dog. Wait till you have to raise a horse.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
It's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned the Queen earlier, the scarf around the hair, it was because, when you're riding a horse, your hair is going to fly all over the place.
Yes.
And of course, just to keep the ears warm. As in cold countries, they have to keep themselves warm as much as possible. So having that scarf was just such a normal thing for me to see as a child. And then I got here and it was so hot. There's no way
you could have
tying
a scarf like that
on your,
but it's not a fashion statement. I've seen several guys, especially artists, do their scarves like that locally and internationally. And I'm like, I used to think this was
wearing a scarf on their head.
Yeah, not even just wearing a scarf, like specifically tying it under their chin.
There's so many. Remember when they used to tie it on their knees? There was a time they used to tie.
There's nothing they haven't done. They
Are you
tie
sure
it on their arm.
They're tying on the arm. That's a gang sign.
I didn't say
So
arm. I
just
said
decided
so
not
just
to
so
go
you
that
know,
way. I'm
yeah.
just saying that. I said
you
Like can't be tying a red bandana on your arm in
You're wearing a red tie. They're coming after
Sabo
you.
Yaba.
Just take the news
The
out.
boys would ask you to come out of the bus. Let the bus be good. We have to take the news now. And Nigeria recorded 216 new COVID-19 cases overnight, taking the total to 6,175. So far, 1,644 people have recovered and have been discharged, while 191 people have succumbed to COVID-19 related complications. Lagos recorded 74 new cases, followed by Katsina with 33, 19 in Oyo, 17 in Kano. Edo State recorded 13 new cases. Zamfara 10, Ogun, Gombe, and Borno each had 8 new cases, while Bauchi and Kwara recorded 7 new cases. 4 new cases were recorded in the FCT, 3 in Enugu and Kaduna, while Rivers State had 2 new cases. Now, the total lockdown in Kano continues while there will be an extension of the first phase of the easing of the lockdown in the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos and Ogun states. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 is also counting the gains achieved in the first fight against the pandemic as they redouble efforts to enforce the new stage of the extension. Another 2 weeks has been added to the first phase of the gradual and phased easing of the lockdown. But there was significant progress recorded in the first phase despite obvious enforcement bottlenecks and other compliance issues. The decision is the outcome of the recommendations made to President Muhammadu Buhari by the task force saddled with the responsibility of coordinating the national response plan. Again, there will be intensified efforts to alleviate socio-economic difficulties caused by this extension. After recording the highest figure in one day, health authorities are closing the gaps in testing, tracing, isolating, and treatment of confirmed cases. Statistics from the Center of Disease Control indicates that Lagos, Kano, and Borno account for 52% of COVID-related deaths in the country. The biggest worry for the Presidential Task Force will be transitioning from a lockdown to a safe reopening. At the daily media briefing, the Minister of Foreign Affairs announced a significant breakthrough achieved in providing welfare for evacuees. He disclosed that the central bank and Nigeria's oil companies will now pick the welfare bills of returnees in mandatory isolation. This must indeed be a relief after the government was hit with a barrage of attacks criticizing its insistence that evacuees must pay for their hotel accommodation and feeding. In the coming days, the operational guidelines for this extended phase of the lockdown will be released. But government continues to escalate health advisories on precautionary measures to stay safe and flatten the curve of transmission. Over in the U.S., President Donald Trump has threatened to permanently pull U.S. funding from the World Health Organization if it does not commit to major substantive improvements in the next 30 days. The strongly worded letter alleges that the WHO consistently ignored credible reports of the coronavirus spreading in Wuhan in early December 2019, or even earlier than that, and repeatedly made claims about the coronavirus that were either grossly inaccurate or misleading. Trump said it is clear the repeated missteps by the WHO responding to the pandemic have been extremely costly for the world, and the only way forward for the WHO is if it can actually demonstrate independence from China. Well, that's it on the news on Wake Up Nigeria for today. And I've got a parenting expert joining us this morning. Her name is Clara Kolade, and she's got many years' experience as a certified etiquette trainer. She's also a mother and is passionate about parenting. She's the chief facilitator of the Exigo Finishing School, and the topic for our discussion this morning is listening as an art of communication. Of course, with a focus on kids. And I don't know if she can hear me right now. Hi, Clara.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So we don't have much time, so we'll just dive straight into the conversation. Now, typically, when you're dealing with children, what you usually hear is once there's a problem, you just shout at the child. You don't listen to what the child has to say. You just tell them to do what you want at that time. But you're talking to us about listening this morning. So what really is listening?
Oh, Good morning, everyone. I'll just go straight to the point. The need to be understood and listened to is a basic human need, along with food, water, and shelter. Yes, the sad reality is that most of us lack these basic life skills. Listening is an art, ART. You really have to learn how to listen. Speaking, hearing is not the same as listening. Listening is a little bit difficult. It means you have to bring your heart into the conversation. You have to try to understand what the other person is trying to communicate. And that is the only way you can successfully listen. I do this all the time. Speaking is a lot easier than listening because you speak, you may not think about so many things. But when you listen, you have to listen with your heart. You have to listen to the tone and modulation of the speaker. You have to listen to verbal and non-verbal clues that the person is trying to say. And you have to equally listen to the body language of the speaker. So it takes a lot to listen and listen well.
All right. Now,
it's not listening.
Yeah, I wanted to say for those in a position of authority, especially when you're looking at parents, why is it so difficult for you to listen and begin to pay attention? Because for many years, especially if you've been at the position of giving instructions and giving orders, and then suddenly you're telling us that now we have to listen. How do you move from that high horse, that position of authority that you've always been at, to being an active listener?
Okay, great. You know what happens to most of us parents is that we think that the children don't have anything to contribute. What do you know? I'm your mother. I've been here for 40 years. You need to listen to me. But the thing is this. The children are communicating to us, especially non-verbal clues. And we need to pick it. So we have something for young children, we call it PAL. Pay attention listening. You come down to the level of the child. Okay, let me give this child an opportunity to say something, because from the so-called nonsense, there's a sense in it. So we learn to have to take up this, I know it's all God, as parents. And listen to these children. I teach parenting, I mentor teenagers a lot. One major thing they have against parents is that they don't listen. And that's why we have problems. If you don't listen to children, you don't listen to anybody, you have problems in business, you have problems in relationships, and you have problems in family. When you don't listen to children, they say, okay, you don't listen to me, I'll do it my way. And most of the time, my way is not a good way. It ends in frustration, it ends in trouble. So we have to learn how to listen. See, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's very easy to listen. It's difficult, but it's something that we can all do. We have to cultivate it. After the basic human need of food, water, and shelter, the next thing that we need to cultivate and master and develop mastery on and is
listening.
Of listening.
Now, so talk to us about where maybe many years have passed, and now you're at the position where your child is no longer a child, is now a teenager, and you feel like you lost many years of not listening at all. To this young child, but now you want to start making amends. Maybe your child is already 13 or 15 and already has a mindset that you don't listen. How do you begin to change this as the child approaches puberty and the end of their teen years?
Oh, Lord, have mercy. It's going to be difficult, but you have to keep at it. You have to gain the confidence of the child back. Look, child, yes. And half of the time I tell parents, you have to admit your mistakes. Go to that child and say to that child, I'm so sorry I was not listening to you in the past, but now I'm ready to listen. Can we start? Can we put this behind us? Parenting essentially is about the parent, not about the child. We have to get hold of our emotions. Go to that child and apologize. What happens in the two scenarios that are likely going to happen is either the child after a while warms up to you and allows you into his world, or he closes up entirely and refuses you to come into his world. And that time you have lost it. There's nothing you can do. But you just have to look at the other option, work at it and say, look, I'm here. Yes, I made mistakes. Please pardon me. Can we do something? And if you're lucky and the child accepts you back into his life, then that is good. Everything is not ignoring. And you can all go back and you're smiling. But if you think, no, there's absolutely nothing you can do. I tell people, because I parent adult children, I said, when children are young, you tell them what to do and where to sit and where to go and where not to go. But when they become adults, they tell you where to sit, where to go, and where not to go. Now, my children, they have a lot of opinions. They tell me this because I'm parenting adults now. I can't force my view. I come to the people and I tell them, what do you think about this? What do you think we should do?
Yeah. So as we're rounding off this conversation, I'm sure there's a lot of parents who are listening now and they're trying to make a decision that, okay, I'm going to be a more active listener in my relationship with my child. What's the first step? Especially for, there's some parents, especially mothers, that are just very talkative. They just want to say everything that's on their minds about the child's school, about what the child is doing wrong. What's the first step to take in active listening? The first step that you're supposed to take?
The first step to take, first and foremost, is to stop talking and listen. Someone says the reason why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth is that you should listen more. Stop talking and just listen. Sit there and just listen. Listen to the tone. Listen to body language, because body language carries the highest percentage of communication. So show empathy. Don't interrupt all preconceived notions. Do away with it. Don't be presumptuous. Just listen. I want to talk to you. And if the person is physical, if there's a physical interaction, maintain eye contact. Just try to show that I'm here for you. Avoid prejudice. Create a very suitable environment where the child can talk to you, where you can talk. Until you think that there's a problem. Listen more and talk less.
Wow.
Speaking, it is not, talking is not listening, or hearing is not listening. That someone is talking to you and you're hearing is not listening. The time you can say you're listening attentively is when you're able to go into the world of the speaker.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this really, really deep and insightful conversation, and also instruction about listening as an art of communication. Very, very important for many parents. And she said to us that this period, be quiet for once and listen to the child. Really, really important.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Clara Colade, for joining us this morning. I'm sure that we have learned so much, even for us watching at home. Now we're going to be taking a quick break and be back with more.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. We have yet another guest, this time via Skype this morning. And this is none other than Eniola Olamilekan Adedeji, better known as DJ Any Money. Now, he is a disc jockey and a recording artist as well. He took home Best Collaboration of the Year at the City People Music Awards in 2018 for his single Diet, which features Tiwa Savage and Slim Case. Now, just so you know, he is the official DJ of the YBNL Nation, owned by his brother. Hi, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Fine.
Great to have you on the show. So how have you been coping lockdown-wise now?
I've been chilling, thank God.
I see you are in the car. Are you going somewhere?
Yeah. I'm going out, but I just have to quickly run this.
So staying home is over for you. You started going out, trying to hustle.
trying to get one or two things together,
Okay. All right, so DJ Any Money, you've really come a long way, all the way from 2015. Was it 2015 you started DJing officially, or you'd been doing it little by little?
I've been doing it little by little, but officially it was 2011.
2011, wow. Before Yabatek or after Yabatek?
before.
Okay.
Yeah, before.
Okay.
No, it wasn't the Yaba Tech, it was Lagos Polytechnic.
Lagos Polytechnic, rather. Thank you very much. Okay, so 2015, then between 2015 and 2016, you released some singles before your big break when you did Oya Dab featuring your brother Olamide. So why did you decide to do disc jockeying? Why not anything else? For someone who studied computer science, I believe? Yeah, so why disc jockeying? Was it because your brother decided to do music, so you guys wanted to complement each other, or was it a personal passion of yours?
No. I've been a disc jockey since I was in Bariga. So it's been in my blood since then. Before my brother, before Enigro, I've been a disc jockey.
Okay, so you started off as DJ Electric, then became DJ Any Money because of Eniola. Okay, so why did you decide to change your name from Electric to Eniola, to Any Money?
It was my brother that changed the name for me.
Ah.
It was like, yo, bro, we need to take this international, so we need to change the name.
Wow. Well, it's been working for you. DJ Electric, DJ Any Money, one and the same. All right, so you've had several collaborations with several major artists in the industry. Yeah. Now, what has the experience been like for you from 2015 till now?
It's been good. I've been getting lots of compliments from people, and my songs have been doing great, you know. And I think there are more coming out, more, a lot. A lot.
Okay. At least you have stuff that you've been able to point at in the industry. Now, before we talk about your current projects, for many years now, for you it's been a case of you refuse to be under the shadow of your brother. Especially with the fact that people believe that, if you didn't have your brother, you wouldn't have blown so quickly, so to speak, because 2015 to 2016 is just a year and you're already skyrocketing. So would you attribute your success to your brother all the same?
One way or the other, it's still my brother and his God. Because if it wasn't for my brother, I wouldn't be here. And if it wasn't for God, my brother would say, yo, take this boy out of Bariga. You understand? So I think my brother is part of my success story too. Very well, brother. Yeah.
All right. I see that family means a lot to you. You've said it before that nothing can take you out of YBNL Nation, which is good. And talking about family, I know you had a child some years back. Do you have any more children?
Yeah. Soon I'll be expecting more.
You're expecting, so you're trying to tell me that one is on the way? Is that it? Okay. So it looks like I'm a soothsayer now. I can tell when people are expecting babies. You're always keeping your private life private.
I don't know what they're saying, but soon I'll be expecting more.
All right, then. Let's talk about your current projects. You recently released a song with featuring Dayo Tubona and Terry G. Dapo Tubona, rather, and Terry G. Now, I know there's always a story behind your releases. What's the story behind this one?
That song, yeah. I've had that song since last year. Dapo Tubona sent it to me last year. And, I sent it to Terry G. You listen to it and be like, oh, yeah, it's like the song and the second day.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the song with me since until this particular day I played it for my brother. I was playing my EP for my brother, and I played that particular song, and he was like, yo, why have you drop this song? You need to drop this song. You get it?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, you want me to drop it? Say yes, drop it, and this is how you're going to shoot the video. And I said, okay,
wow.
Let's do that. And I called my video director, I told him today, and I gave him my address, and I be like, okay, this is how I'm going to shoot the video. I'll get my people together to do some short clips of their time, because we can't shoot proper video now. We have to promote the social distancing thing. So that's how everything else came up.
And it turned out okay. It worked. It worked. So I'm sure you have other projects you're working on, right? Or that's the only one for now?
I have other projects I'm working on. My EP is coming out. I have lots. I have good music. Good music. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time, DJ Any Money, aka Electric. Have a great week, all right? All right then. Thank you so much. Okay, so I know Titi and Yomi are in the kitchen right now. I don't know what they're up to, but I know they're there right now.
We're just watching DJ Any Money. We were looking at his shades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the shades, like, just chilling wearing shades in his car.
Yes,
you know.
it did. And we're rounding off the show now. A big thank you to all our guests for joining us through technology this morning. All of you tried, whether you joined us by Skype or on the phone. Big thank you to all of you for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We're going to be back again tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. for another edition.
Your view is next very shortly. Stick around.
Bye.